I play with people. But let's talk about why we're here today. So, David, I wanted to ask you about the perfect length of role-playing game session. And
Good prefix. Good follow-up.
thank you. Those pauses were well measured, as well as, I guess, the perfect or your preference for the number of players for like a typical role-play session. So imagine like we are playing like a D&D type of game as opposed to like a two-player game, because obviously the answer in that case would be two. So what do you think in terms of session length? Because we very often have played 3-hour sessions.
Yeah.
And we also do sort of like 4-hour sessions at conventions and stuff like that, and occasionally we've gone longer.
I mean, I have noticed that at conventions I tend to lean into 3 hours as well. So, full context, our home group that we do on a Monday, for a variety of reasons, we sort of have a fairly strict 3-hour window. As a result, even when I'm given more time, I struggle to
Fill it.
to do a one shot for more than 3 hours.
Yeah.
But I think 3 hours can work, and I think, especially if you're concise, and when you're at a con, people always appreciate falling a little short of time rather than getting too close or running over it, because it means they've got more time to. As long as what you do within those 3 hours. That's a strange noise for a horse out there. Whatever you're doing in those 3 hours, I think, as long as you're telling the full story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Don't leave people feeling shortchanged.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think 3 to 4 hours for a one shot is fairly concise.
I tend to agree. So I like 3-hour sessions, even when you have a 4-hour session slot, for the reasons that you mentioned. So most of the time, if you're playing games at conventions or whatever, you're playing a number of games, and it can be tiring after a while. So you want to be able to have a little bit of downtime. That's for GMs as well as for players. Mm-hmm. So undercooking it slightly for that is good. But also, if you're used to building game sessions that are 3 hours long, when you add stuff like let's go and have a drinks break or whatever in there, very often you have 10 or 15 minutes worth of that anyway. You also have 10 or 15 minutes worth of this is how the session works for people who haven't played it before.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're at 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And no one's arguing if a session ends 30 minutes early if it's a 4-hour session. Like, they're not.
Like I said, as long as you feel like you've told the full story.
Yeah, of course.
I think sometimes I will have sort of weekend sessions that go into the sort of 6 or 8 hour-long sessions.
Yeah.
Often with sort of pizza break and stuff in between.
Sure.
But they tend to kind of fall into the category of one-shot mini campaign style for me. That tends to be like a several thing. What I tend to work on, or the kind of framework that I tend to work on, is 2 things happen in an hour. Mm-hmm. That tends to be how I sort of workshop everything. Mm-hmm. So you will go here, investigate that, fight these people,
sure,
or work out this puzzle. Mm-hmm. Or whatever kind of you have kind of two scenes in an hour.
Okay.
Quite often at conventions and things like that, I will have one of the things. So in a 3-hour session, I will have around about 6 things happen. Mm-hmm. Whether that's combat, puzzles, chats with NPCs, sure, things like that. Within that, I will probably have one of those things that isn't as essential. Mm-hmm. And then I will have one thing spare. that if it looks like we're kind of going to fall short, I can slot in.
Oh, so you can cut and paste stuff in.
Yeah. So I will make 8 things with the understanding that I'm going to. I'll make 7 things with the understanding that I'm going to have time to do 6 of them, and I can narrow that down to 5 if I need to.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, as the sort of time that you have expands, then you either, especially if you're doing a one shot, you can sort of expand that into 16 things that are going to happen in an 8-hour session.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And you can narrow them down.
So you kind of have like a micro version, depending on what the table does, depends on how much depth or context or additional information that they might get. Mine is, I guess, a little bit similar. I don't like script it quite like that. Obviously, I know what the story is and stuff, but I will have a beat mark per hour, so that at the end of hour 1, I want them to be in this location. At the end of hour 2, I want them to be in this stage of the story, and that isn't so that I can prescribe the experience, but it is so that the major story beats are given adequate time to land. So you can do whatever you want in between those hours. So, slight spoiler, if you're playing like Chariots of the Gods for Aliens, spoiler, not slight spoiler, then so I one-shot that session, which other people can run it over the course of like 6 or 8 sessions, which I imagine I could do as well, but it's at that stage it probably gets a bit granular.
Yeah.
But I know that by the end of hour 1, they need to be on ship number 2. By the end of hour 2, they need to be encountering crew number 2. By the end of hour 3, this would be for a 4-hour session. By the end of hour 3, they need to be into the sort of revelation and combat needs to be happening, so that they then have 1 hour to try and save themselves in the ship, depending on whatever their motivations are. So I sort of have a 1, 2, 3, if it's a 3-hour session, of where I think the major things to cover on the hours type of vibe. I think that's pretty useful.
And then, I mean, it's slightly trickier when you're at a con and you don't necessarily know who it is that you're playing with.
Well, I think it's more important because you don't know who you're playing with. So you might have to be a little bit more controlling on the timing.
Yeah. But I think, like, obviously, if you know every time you get a shopping montage, your home group's going to take, an hour
to shop. Yeah.
Then you can sort of plan that a little bit better.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, when I said about sort of narrowing it down to 5 rather than the 6, it's like if your combat takes a lot longer than you thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Or, the puzzle that you thought was really simple, for one reason or another, it just wasn't sort of
simple
gelling with the
party
or the crew. And so you've got a variety of things that you can kind of layer in. But I think if you kind of, rather than necessarily subscribing it to a length of time, sort of give yourself half an hour for each thing that happens in a sort of general sense. And then sometimes it'll fall short, sometimes it'll go long. On top of it, so talking about one shots, 4 hours, how about campaigns for you? How many sort of sessions in a campaign do you think that you would sort of work with?
So I don't think I like really long campaigns. So I'm doing what I would describe as a really long campaign currently. And it's just a very long commitment. Like the players I'd play with and I'd run games for, definitely. But throughout the course of a year, then I have different creative moods. So I don't necessarily want to be playing one system for 2 years, and to have to try and spin the plates of a world that's been built over a long time, it takes quite a lot of work. Particularly if, because every session you're adding another plate because of player actions.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? Or world building. So that, and all of it can be called back to. And as the GM, it's really not a good look, I don't think, to be like, I don't remember that, and then have to be prompted. Like, realistically, it happens.
Although Rich, one of our players, or one of our members of our home group, he's been running his Warhammer game now for about 3 years.
Yeah.
I think we've had
probably almost 70 sessions.
No, more than that.
Is it more now?
Yeah.
But those are broken up into 8-week slots.
Yeah.
And then he can then relax. He can then take what he's learnt. And while he isn't being a GM, while a couple of other people are GMing, he's got 3 to 6 months to sort of refine it and go again.
Yeah.
But if it's constant, this is why the long-term game that I'm running is every 2 weeks, which is a point of contention for some of the party because they'd like it to be every week. But I can't commit to every week.
No.
Not with the amount of work. And, I think it's different if it's, that game's online and all this kind of stuff. I think if it's an in-person thing and you're hanging out or whatever, it's probably a slightly more relaxed environment, in which case once a week is awesome.
Yeah.
But if you're coming online, then it's probably needs to be a bit more structured.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If I was ever to do a game like an actual play, like we are currently discussing for TPK, then I would want each of those sessions to be good.
Yeah.
And not have like.
Damn, is that? Do we need to make them good?
Yeah, at least good.
Shit, but you can gotta go back to the drawing board.
You can have like bit of a whatever session in person and still have a good time because you just, for want of a better terms, sort of like fucking around in the world.
Yeah.
And it's more of a social thing that week than anything else, right? But
if it's online,
it's not really that, is it?
Yeah.
Because you're not, people aren't there to see, you just have a laugh. I mean, there's an element of that, but they're also there because they want to see the system or the game or whatever. So you kind of have to make sure that it's.
I mean, you look at
got those things.
Things like obviously the benchmark for actual plays and stuff, generally speaking, is Critical Role.
Did you want to mention 20?
You don't
Mystery
tend
Quest.
you don't tend to get. I tend to get them in D20 because they're not scripted, but they are more conscious because they do their sort of 8-week. Their campaigns are about 8 weeks long.
Okay.
They're not scripted as in that sense, but they do have an understanding of the time constraints.
For sure, yeah. There's like a meta
Yeah.
part of it that goes, it's week 7, let's not all go on a 3-week yoga retreat in game, like.
Whereas when you look at sort of Critical Role, I don't know if it's the same in campaign 4, but in the first 3, you had there was different like sort of shopping episodes and things like that, and sort of downtime episodes and stuff, which is great. So it was great to watch them do it because obviously they're having I think that one of the biggest selling points for Critical Role was that they were all friends to begin with. So watching a load of good friends hang out is enjoyable for different reasons, kind of thing. But if you're there making entertainment, sometimes it can be a bit, of a stretch. Whereas at home, you can have a shopping week. Yeah. Or you can have
a shopping week is basically pretty chill for a GM as well.
Yeah.
Other than having to work out what's available. But, that's...
I would be inclined to agree. And, about 8 to 10 weeks for me is enough. You can level up your character once or twice.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to get a good slice of the world that you're playing in. I think there's a lot to be said about being a player in a world that's been going for many years, but as a GM, I absolutely would not have the.
It's taxing.
Yeah, I wouldn't have the sort of mental, or even just the time to spare on such a long
thing. I think I enjoy one shots a lot. or small little arcs, like a few week arcs,
Hmm.
because it's like, that's like watching a film.
Yeah,
It's
and
the
I
difference
think
between watching a film and watching 6 series of 15 episodes.
But we've been able to play in the sort of tenure of us of sort of carrying on with our group, because we tend to lean into shorter campaigns and shorter session length.
Yeah.
We've been able to play a myriad of different genres and
Tones and
and
stories.
systems and things like that
Yeah.
that we wouldn't. I mean, there's some that we've gone back to.
Yeah, but and those have been layered on top of each other as well, like Rich's games. You know what I mean? They're sort of they're almost like books or seasons.
Yeah.
Done in an 8-week period. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then there's some that we've never seen again, for good or ill. But there's very few games on our shelves that we haven't got to play.
That's very
Whereas I will go to I'll sort of see people that have
collected.
Yeah, got hundreds of books or hundreds of even board games.
Yeah.
And things like that, like hundreds that for whatever reason they've just never got around to using because they keep going back.
Well, it's interesting because maybe this is slightly off topic, but it's one thing to go, that's a really cool system. It's another thing to go, that's a really cool system, let me find a group of people who want to play it.
Yeah.
And then with that group of people, let's find availability to play it. It's each time you're getting more and more degrees of difficulty in realising it. Whereas with the Monday group that we have, anybody who wants to run the system, generally speaking, gets to run the system because it's GM's choice. And the benefit of that is that players get exposed to different stuff, but also if you're not interested, if I hate Discworld, which I don't, but if I do, then it's only 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we move on to the next.
I mean, there's definitely been systems that we've played that if that was going to be it forever, I would have sort of
had
given
attendance issues.
Yeah. So I think.
And then you find other things you enjoy.
Yeah,
so maybe you look at your character development.
I think that there definitely is, and it's something that I've never done, and I don't feel like I've missed out on lots because of it. But I don't think that I've ever done D&D past level probably 10. I've played higher level characters,
but not start to finish.
But I've not started at level 1 and got higher than level 10.
Yeah.
And there's an appeal to being able to do that at some point maybe, and but if it's a choice of I get to try loads of different things in loads of different worlds with loads of different characters, or I have to I spend 3 years with one game, one story, one system, one character to get to that level 20. I would much rather have, the pick and mix and the variety bag of things.
Yeah, nobody wants a box of Snickers.
No.
Well, you'll have
if you've
variety.
got one.
You have a variety pack. To call back to a previous episode, nobody wants a crate of broken biscuits.
No, but if you're going to get if you're going to get the variety pack, or if you're going to get the box of celebrations, sometimes you're going to have a Milky Way.
I like a Milky Way.
I mean, Milky Ways are fine, but when you've got other options, when you've got other things available to you,
when there's Malteser things, they're better.
We're on to snacks again. We need to move away from snacks.
Right.
So when you're making these 8 weeks for a campaign.
Yeah.
4 hours for a session, but
3 hours.
3 hours? 4 hours?
3 hours. 3 hours of content.
Yeah.
Depending, if the structure of a convention, which is basically the only time I do 4 hours, dictates 4 hours, then fine. Because very often 3 hours, if I'm being totally honest with you, is the ending feels like if there was an extra 30 minutes of leeway, it would be perfect.
Hmm.
So probably.
So you're not rushing the ending.
Yeah, yeah, probably. So I guess 3 hours of game time over 3.5-ish hours or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know, just to.
But then, so how many people are at your table when you're running this?
Excluding me, generally 4, but I am increasingly enjoying 3 because of how involved each of those 3 people can be. You can get more done in not in like we've got a list of things to get done, but everybody's more involved from these 3 people.
Yeah.
But then if you have people who can't turn up, you don't have a game.
I think for me, the best group size is 4. So GM and 3 players. I'm inclined to agree. But I think that you need to add tolerance.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, if it's just 2 people at a table where there's 3 people, that third person is going to miss a lot out if they can't make it that week.
Yeah.
So
That's when you have like backup one shots and stuff.
yeah, but I think for me, the best kind of I like a group of 6. Myself and 5 players.
Oh wow, that's quite a lot for me.
Anything more than that, I think 6 players. I've run one shots with 6 players before. As at cons and things, I tend, unless I know the person, I tend to put a hard limit of 5 players on my conventions. I think I've let 6 people in before if I know the person, I know they're not going to fuck around.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, you know they're good peeps.
So, and I can do that, but I think even then 6 players tends to especially over shorter periods of time.
Yeah.
Like one shots.
Then you probably need 4 hours of session time. In that case, right?
It means not everybody's getting a look in.
Yeah.
Which is always disappointing.
Yeah.
Right? Because if for every one person you add to that group, somebody's getting, X amount less time.
Yeah. It's something to be said as well. If you have fewer people, then every combat encounter is more taxing on the GM. Because the world and the enemies and the environmental stuff has more opportunity. There's more time to change.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have more players, then you've got a bit more breathing room to look at how things would be evolving on the battle.
But then I think investigative games, I will always go lower. I'd even go, down to 2 players.
Yeah.
In an investigative game.
I mean, that works, doesn't it?
I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know if I'd play a 2-player investigative game. So obviously we've sort of looking at things.
GM in one player.
Yeah, looking at some of the duet games and things like that. Like obviously we've sort of looked at Pick Crawler and stuff recently. I don't think I'd go too investigative.
I just think that investigative. I agree, and I agree because I think investigative games require conversation to sort of chew the fat and the ideas and the possibilities.
Yeah.
And if you have one person, then probably you come to roadblocks. And then if you're just spoon feeding or adding additional information for one person, are you just reading a book together?
Yeah. Well, that's it. And knowing it would be difficult to engage in those conversations that need to happen in an investigating. But we did a 2-on-1 investigation.
Dresden File game.
Yeah, which worked out really well.
Yeah.
Right up until the combat at the end.
Well, if you think about it, if you're all sat at home watching some Agatha Christie, whatever, Knives Out, all that kind of stuff with your missus or your friend, you're essentially replicating that situation.
Yeah.
because you're talking along as the movie's going. Not a lot because you're watching a movie, but you are talking along in sort of work and thinking things over. And I think it might be something to do with that person or whatever.
And I think with investigative games as well, I think like having a Holmes and a Watson is really good.
You can split the skills out.
Yeah, having but then the more you kind of add into those investigative games, it's like, and Mrs. Hudson is here.
Yeah,
and
it's a bit supporting casty.
Yeah, they tend, if you've got one lead investigator and other people.
It's a bit like The Witcher. I bought The Witcher role-playing game, and I was trying to come up with like a game to run with that. And I mean, I have issues with it, with the system, but not a lot of what the system does is really cool. But the alchemy and the magic system is, I think, needlessly complicated, personally. But you also have a really big balancing issue in that rarely in that world do you have a group of witches.
Yeah.
You have a witcher. And there are groups of witches, but the system isn't really balanced to having groups of witches. It's balanced to having a witcher and then normal people, or just normal people, right? So then you have to sort of, more people doesn't necessarily mean better time, because everybody does want to be the Witcher.
I mean, I've experienced a similar issue playing Doctor Who.
Sure. Yeah, it's the same.
Where like only one person is going to be the Doctor, and then the rest of the people are along for the ride.
Yeah.
Generally, what I tend to do in those circumstances, if there's only one whoever, I will take that person on as a GM, and either they are inconvenienced in some way, which means that
Captain Picard has been got by the Borgs, and the Enterprise must arrange the rescue mission.
Yes.
Type of setup, but that's not really a campaign.
No, but then
it's more of a one-shot type, or two or three
potentially, but or an 8-week. You can. I think you could squeeze an 8-week game out.
Maybe.
The Doctor. You've got the TARDIS, and the Doctor is.
But then are you not? Yeah. Well, if you give too much of what the Doctor has away, and I'm not big on the Doctor Who stuff, but eventually you are a pseudo Doctor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know that he has any. I don't know that he is Superman.
I mean, he is in the sense of,
Does he have special powers?
Everything depends on who's writing him at the time.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
It's one of those. If you're not too familiar with the Doctor Who canon, it tends to be.
Doesn't jump about.
We need to figure out a way to get out of this situation. What if the Doctor could do this now?
Oh, I got you. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
How about we give them a sonic screwdriver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do some fun stuff with, like you say, with the Star Trek. You could do, because you have like holodeck, so you could have a situation in a holodeck where your training officers or your ensign, that's what they call it, right, ensign, and you're going through like exercises, but then maybe the people don't know it's a training exercise.
Yeah.
And then at the end you get to do not like and you wake up, but you get to sort of like melt away the situation and reveal Picard smiling and nodding at you, all happy with what you've done or not.
I think we're going off on a bit of a tangent, but yeah, I think generally speaking, it depends the number of people.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah, you're right. We did go on a tangent.
The number of people at the table can vary depending on the game that you're playing. For preference, but I tend to say anything more than 5, you're definitely leaning into the territory where time is going to be an issue.
Yeah, I would say 3 or 4 player characters.
If you're doing combat,
yeah,
and you're averaging about sort of 3 to 4 minutes per player.
Or 3 rounds of combat, then is an hour.
Yeah, or it's going to be 20 minutes. You have your go, but it's going to be 20 minutes before it comes back to you again.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
So you're really struggling there.
Especially when you're asking these people to be engaged and listen to like the environmental cues when it's the
Yeah,
GM's turn and
they've
stuff.
got magic rectangles in their pocket, demanding their attention and things like that. So I think anything more than 5 at a table, I think I tend to struggle.
And then we're pretty set on about 3 hours for a session, like.
I think so. I think this is the first time we've gone. No, it's the definitive answer.
Yeah.
Here's an answer for you.
Yeah, I think we both agree on 3 hours. I think you probably have one more person at the table than I would, and I think that's boxes it off.
Yeah, I think. But I mean, mostly I would have that 5th person at the table to make sure that we could always have a game. Because obviously time constraints and holidays and sickness and things like that.
Yeah, there is something to be said for that.
So I would always rather have the most people I can manage at a table.
Yeah.
Than the fewest people.
Yeah.
Simply for regularity's sake.
Okay.
Well, on that bombshell of
agreement
and agreeing and making a clear, delineated point for once, should we go and get another drink?
Let's.